everybody. Welcome to the TRQ podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys.
Dark Sax here.
Hi, I'm Enemy.
I am Micro.
I'm Niels.
I'm out.
I'm Zag.
And I'm Adrian.
Oh, yeah. So that was a mystery guest right out of the way, I guess. So yeah, not so mysterious anymore. But yeah, we have Adrian Brightmoore today here on the show. Because we're going to talk about MCEdit today after the follow-up and that kind of stuff. But yeah, let's quickly let you introduce yourself.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for reaching out and saying that you'd be interested to hear my thoughts on MCEdit. I pretty much play MCEdit rather than playing Minecraft, which is kind of an interesting thing to do. So what I do is I build virtual environments and models and objects in MCEdit using code a lot. So I use a thing called filters, which is me writing tiny little programs that just create blocks in the world and link them to other blocks, and I end up with, cities, Death Stars, mazes, those sorts of things.
Yeah, I guess a pretty good explanation. Now before we get into the main topic, as usual, we will first discuss a couple of other things. Yeah, I guess I will quickly do the editorial bit, and then Macro maybe can do the news with some other people. So yeah, we discussed this for a bit, and we would like to urge the viewers to give some feedback. Would be very vague, but we've been thinking a lot about first place background footage. We typically have some survivaling being done in the background on conspiracy or contingency. And yeah, let me know what you think. Should it be different? Don't you really care about the background? Can we just leave a static image on it there or something? Yeah, because it's been a topic of conversation for us.
Last week we also asked a bit, from the comments we saw, it was kind of 50-50. Some people said, I would like a background footage, something to watch. Another person said, I don't really care about it. Still not sure, and just tell us.
So I could just set my GoPro up and record cars going down my street if you want.
Well, that would be interesting, but it's a bit not. I guess Minecraft footage would still be.
AFK witch farm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always a lava lamp.
That's the Minecraft equivalent to lava lamps.
Yeah, come on, guys, we need to move on. Now, for the second topic, I actually kind of forgot this. How did I forget this? That we had to ask about second kind of feedback. Oh, come on, no, someone has to remember.
What?
What?
Didn't you note it down?
I wrote it down in Skype. Someone talk about something. I'll get it back in a second.
Okay.
Hi.
So I actually found out what the feedback was about. So yeah, something important. We actually haven't talked about it, but show notes take quite some time to write down for us and look up all the links. So we kind of want to know if we're doing too much or too little of them. So yeah, you don't go back.
Look at the links,
Yeah, you don't have to click or anything. But just look do your viewers think that this is excessive, or maybe you need even more links? Maybe there's some stuff you're still missing. You want to find out about. So yeah, that's the second thing.
There are a lot of links down there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
there would be a lot more if
you
we just used my notes, but
we have
it.
our enemies out.
Everything.
Hang on.
At the moment we have about notes mostly because it's more the important stuff and not every single thing we talk about. And I usually when I listen to podcasts, I usually sometimes hear about stuff that I don't know anything about and I have no clue what they're talking about. So it would be nice if there was a link to look that up. So that's why I tend to include more links. If you guys want that, let us know. If you don't even look at the links, we might as well not do them.
No,
Let us
I
know.
think
We will still
probably
do them.
Yeah,
we
we
will
probably
still
still do them, but less than
Maybe more
if you don't
about
care as much.
version of it.
Hey,
About
just for
version,
record, we had 72 links last video.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. All right. last couple of days, wouldn't say there has been that much, but last weekend, right after we recorded the podcast, ton of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, wait, let me quickly.
Okay.
Now
the-
Wooby has okay. Well, I mean, you know what? You go ahead first.
Yeah, like last week's podcast, the first thing chronologically we talked about was Redstone chassis, skyblock clocks, and actually just like an hour or two before we uploaded our podcast last week, he made another video about long duration clocks for skyblock, especially like pre 1.5 redstone materials, which is quite interesting because he used clocks with different duration, like 5 ticks or 7 ticks or something like that, which basically prime number duration, and then he AND gated them together to get like a really long duration.
Yeah. So
And yeah,
And
yeah,
new for
just to
mine,
explain the. Oh, go ahead, Dark.
New for Mojang over the past week, nothing.
Yes, I think we already expressed our opinions on.
Didn't they say that
Mojang.
they would release a snapshot?
No, they said in January. I mean, we're only 1/3 in, so I'm waiting. I'll be patient, but
I actually heard something about I don't know if this is true, it might just be a rumor or something, but I actually heard something about the whole name changing thing coming out relatively soon. But
yeah, they
it's-
did make a tweet about that today. I think Mark said something about if you want to have your name changed, you'll have to migrate to Mojang
Mojang account.
account. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so maybe it's coming up, but then again, like Mod API, I also have a lot of updates going on that. Always,
they're
but
working really
it-
hard. on Everything.
Yeah, they're working really hard. But I think maybe we should try to. I think we already discussed this last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to explain the main principle of these clocks. Basically, if you have a clock of say, as enemy said, 5 and 7 ticks, they will only pulse together every 35 ticks naturally, because that's the least common multiple of both of them. You can't find any number lower than 35, which is divisible by both 5 and 7. So that's basically the mathematical explanation. And by using prime numbers, you actually maximize this least common multiple to the product of the numbers. So if you have like tons of these prime numbers, then you can get to really high times, which is about to the next video, I would say, where he rebuilt basically the universe death clock from Spamwack, just using these clocks using torches, repeaters, and redstone dust, basically. Well, he also used pistons for the pulse generators, but those can easily be replaced. And that basically pulses every Google years, which is a lot of years,
a
10
bit
to the
more
100.
even.
What?
Bit more than Google actually, I think.
Oh, yeah, a bit more, but yeah, I mean, he had to overshoot it, so yeah, by only a couple billion years, maybe.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah, so anyway,
Tad.
that's that video, and
Yeah,
so I would say that's good.
Yeah, Spamwack's video, like the original universe death clock, we will link that as well because it gives quite a good timeline of what will happen in all the time. And
Yeah,
on.
Spamwack's clock was not as much about Minecraft, but it's more about putting the time of our real universe into perspective, you could say. Whereas Redstone Jazz Clock was just a challenge, and I have to admit I also took on the challenge, and the day he released it, I did a bit too late, let's say, working on some, basically pulse lengtheners, you could say. I'll just make a video about it at some point, I guess, and I don't want to advertise too much, so yeah, it's definitely an interesting concept, long duration clocks, and trying to get them as compact as possible, using
Anything,
old
yeah,
Redstone mechanics.
This really long Google years, yeah, those are useless.
Yeah, they're useless, but it's a
I
challenge.
would need a farm
with me.
that activates once every universe cycle.
No one, but it's a challenge, and
Mhm.
that's what a lot of Minecraft is about, after all, right? I mean,
Yeah,
some
digging a
people want to play
perimeter,
survival, but
it's no, yeah. What do you really get from it? Yeah, it's spawn proof, but it's also easiest way. It's just you can say I achieved this.
Yeah.
I think I've got to agree with you guys. Now, I know that you do a lot of survival, I mean, pretty much exclusively survival, but definitely the appeal of command blocks and the mechanisms in Minecraft is basically saying, can I do this? And when you do it, looking back and saying, well, now I know how to do something I didn't know how to do before. I've stretched myself. Spumwack's clock is really, really cool. This week I made a counter that will grow, so the number can have 1,000 digits if you want. But then there was a question on Twitter about, well, how many chunks would you need for this? And it turns out you wouldn't need an awful lot, because at the rate that you can count in Minecraft, you're only ever going to get up to about 500 million in 80 years, which is only 9 digits. So it's not particularly useful. But having made it, you look back and go, well, I didn't know how to do it before, and now I do. That's pretty neat.
Yes, I actually also watched that video. Was interesting, I have to admit.
Just not
I'm
very
not sure.
useful.
Yeah, well, I don't think no, I'm not gonna get too much in advertising, but I think we all have made some contraptions. At least most of us have made some contraptions in the past with, in definitely survival Minecraft, don't have any purpose whatsoever. But that still means doesn't mean it's not fun.
A lot of houses or so that it looks cool.
Yeah, like it doesn't even have to be technical or anything.
Yeah, it's not really that much of a use. You just make a dirt check otherwise.
Okay. So I think that's. Oh, go ahead.
If it gets you through the night, that's all that matters.
Is there a challenge in here, maybe for your listeners? Create the most ornate and useless dirt shack that looks fantastic?
Sounds
That's
great.
kind of contradictory, I would say, but everyone can break that rule, I guess. Try to make a nice dirt house.
That would be pretty
Maybe
cool.
some farmland and coarse dirt.
I remember seeing one thing, and I forgot who it was by, but it was sort of like the smallest, most useful shack. Like the walls were made out of brewing stands, ender chests, and all sorts of things like that. And like there were no actual block walls; they were all like anvils and things like enchantment tables.
All
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, like all function houses, and it'd be cool if you could like try to compact that as much as you can and make it look as bad as you can at the same time as making it useful, I guess. I don't know. I just think that'd be kind of fun.
Thanks for the link. Now, moving on. There have also been a couple of non-Let's Just things this week. Enemy, do you want to talk about? Well, it's not news, but we also want to do some follow-up on what we talked about last week and add some stuff to that. So
I think we can do the command block parser first because we talked about it first in the podcast, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, alright, then I guess we can do some other things now. I guess some people, or if not everyone, has heard of the command block parser / CBP release by Wooby. Yes?
I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah, so
not too much of a reaction, but well, it has already been released for a while. I think we actually discussed it last week, but yeah, now the YouTube release, so subscribers have been notified, and he also made a short tutorial to do the most basic functions of the tool. So that's pretty cool. And if you want a complete explanation, well, the documentation is pretty complete, I would say. It still lacks some details in some parts, which led me into some debugging situations, which were quite annoying. But generally speaking, it's definitely good enough. So yeah, we will also link to that. And lastly, or at least lastly, I can remember, there's been something not too technical, but still worth notice, I would say. Old Ganon speedrun. Anyone want to talk about this?
Sure. Basically, he did a speedrun for Minecraft any percent random seed, right?
Yes, an 8% random seed.
And what that means is basically kill the Ender Dragon and go through the portal so you actually see the credits in the least time possible without setting your seed to a specific seed. Where you have like, you have this and this advantage and so on. And
Yeah.
I think it was like 33 minutes or something.
A little bit over 30 minutes.
Yeah. for the most part, it was just duping. So definitely think some things can be improved, but this category. For some reason, Minecraft speedrunning, as in the survival game, is not a big thing. So it's definitely nice to see someone doing that. And I mean, I think he can definitely improve it this time. I think he even said it himself, but
Yes.
still pretty cool he already made this one.
I once saw where they just set the seed to a good one. It was something like 20 minutes.
It was
so
16
if-
actually.
Mhm.
I watched it after watching speedrun because
I think the record
Now-
for set seed Minecraft speedruns is at 8 minutes 12 seconds at the
it
moment.
what?
Now I have seen in like the comments that people are accusing like of the duping of it in used in the episode. Is they say it's not right. How do y'all feel about that?
Well,
Like I don't
for
know
the-
I don't know the technical rules of a speed run, but
Um,
I don't
Mojang
For the
Yes, you
for the
fixed
speedrun,
it.
everything goes basically. Like as long as you do it as fast as possible without modding the game, it's basically qualifies
Yeah.
for that category.
so basically, if there's a bug in the game and you use it, that's completely
yeah,
like,
yeah,
100%
Mojang
okay.
completely
Speedrunners
fine.
would agree with that, yeah, but
Yeah,
Okay.
like basically if you don't use dupes, I'm not sure if there's like a different category for that, but
You can
if
make one.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
you can
Vic-
always make one, but like
yeah,
if
but
I-
without dupes, like you would be so much slower. Like
for
you
any
wouldn't
percent,
be-
these are the speedrunning standard. Like SDA says you can use glitches, not cheat codes. This is not cheat code. Oh yeah, SDA by the way is Speedrunners Archive. They're like a bit of an authority when it gets to speedrunning.
Can
we'll
you
link in
switch
the shows.
versions?
Yeah, I don't think I haven't checked out their Minecraft page, so but I think they allow any version because the
Like-
run a lot of people know about was the 60-minute one, that's it, any percent, which was done last year at Awesome Games on Quick, which is an event basically organized by them, so I'm pretty sure they acknowledge that of that.
Like, what I'm saying is not just playing in one version for the whole time, but starting in 1.8 and then going to 1.7 or something like that.
oh yeah,
Would
because
anyone do that?
yeah, you
Cock,
would never do
cock,
that.
Yeah, no, I think that
Says the-
doesn't qualify anymore.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
there's a lot
it
of
depends.
like dupes where they like alt F4 out of the game to dupe stuff and so on, and that counts. And like for
Okay.
some reason they still count the in-game time, which doesn't make sense at all. But
Like it depends. I haven't looked up on that page, but the title of the video, which which I think SDA released, was actually using the real time of the run. So it depends. Some people do use real time, but they also had an in-game timer for look at I guess. Speedrunning is always a lot a topic of controversy. There are always a lot of discussions about what is allowed, what's not allowed, how you can time, and so on and so forth. More. Guys, we have a guest on the podcast for one time. just kidding.
Oh man, I got to tell you, we had a power outage last night, and since then it's been very odd here. It's like I've entered the third dimension. All sorts of weird things going on.
Like you being on our podcast. It's very strange.
Oh, it's very
But
very
it's-
strange.
Oh, is technology taking over or something? I
Ooh,
called it.
yes.
2015,
Skynet.
the year of the computer attacks.
Actually, it could be. It could be.
Just ask Sony.
There's a few thresholds that have happened this week too, haven't there? Didn't we have? Was it 18 million Minecraft PC sales or
I
users?
don't know
and-
actually. Something the
Yeah, I
CJ
think-
is
I
that we
think-
have 1 million.
That's a
Mu-
lot.
must have been this week, because when I checked last week, it was like 17.92 something.
And just
And-
like
a
past
bit
9
more.
days.
Yeah, Jeb's just tweeted that MCPEs hit 30 million.
Wow.
What?
Wow. Right now
Wait,
on the Minecraft.net
MCP?
website, it says 18,067,794 people. Excuse me,
This year.
95. Overall.
It's updating all the time.
Oh, okay.
And they're all listening to your podcast. Isn't that amazing?
That
That would be amazing.
that
if
would
they
be
all
pretty weird.
would be listening.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet by Hypixel the other day, that owns the Hypixel server. He says that 10% of all bought Minecraft accounts has been on his server at least one time. That to me is just amazing.
Yeah, but it
That's pretty weird.
can't
Yeah.
be possible that everyone joins, listens to the podcast, because some of them are just AFK bots, and then it's 2 times the same person. So
Can you imagine the infrastructure that the Hypixel team has to maintain to cater for a community that size, even if they're all bots? What an amazing achievement!
It
Like
is.
like staff or something, or like
What,
Oh, just like-
computers,
yeah,
servers,
software,
the,
right.
the
Like the-
software that,
Oh,
that
yeah.
'Cause,
runs
yeah,
the gateways.
yeah, people complain if it's lagging. By the way,
Yeah.
always in chat, damn lag.
Like most, an average server can't hold over 50 people, I would say, without having logic issues. So definitely, like there has been serious development in just like you could almost say server engines, as far as I know. I don't know a lot about the field though, but there is like software being written to transport you between different servers without having you to manually connect and that kind of stuff, which is
The whole
apparently
bungee
pretty
cord
hard to do.
situation.
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know much about it, but I read it somewhere. So yeah, it is pretty cool. I won't deny that. But without the way, I guess we can move on to the final, well, the main topic, you could say. So
No, wait.
No, there's a bit more.
And me and I did some testing with the
Oh yes, sorry.
Minecraft
Good.
console client we talked about last week.
Yes.
And yeah, we found it on that one post. We tested it on Linux. It didn't. Yeah, it says it works, but the only way I found that it works is if you just use an emulator for Windows on it. So, and
Okay.
I tested it on a couple of servers. On Hypixel it worked, but yeah, on the survival server it didn't work for me. I don't know if it worked for anyone.
Just to note, I use the version 1.8.0 of the console client, which supports Minecraft 1.4.6 to 1.8.1. And the servers I tried all worked. 1.8.2 pre-1 servers didn't work sadly, but yeah, as in the version said, they are not really supported, so wasn't really expecting that. I tested on Windows, that worked fine. Might test on Mac this week, if I don't forget. If someone actually wants to know, really.
Yeah, you have to restart your computer then.
Oh yeah,
Man.
big deal. Yeah. As like it works really good for servers that are supported and on Windows at the very least. Also, like a nice thing about it is that you're not limited to the Minecraft chat history size that you have in normal
Yeah.
Minecraft, which well,
On Hypixel, you can actually scroll up and see how many boosters have been queued. Because in game you can't see that because it's too overflow.
yeah, I noticed that on mine chat too.
Yeah, I
so-
tested it on my Raspberry Pi and it's running Raspberry. I don't know which version, but it worked. For the servers that did work, it worked good. Also has color support, so fancy.
Also, it has some fancy features like an anti-AFK bot that like just says everything every once in a while, so you don't get timed out, and you can.
Also- Mhm.
Basically a spam bot.
No, it's doing the /ping, so it's
okay,
only
yeah.
once a minute, so
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like every minute you have like two annoying guys using mind chat just saying ping. That would be quite
no
annoying.
/ping as a command.
Yeah, like the command. All right.
But
Yeah, I
nobody
thought
can
was,
see
like,
it
actually in chat.
other than the console.
All right. Yeah. So mind chat apparently is also there for.
Mine chat console, the console client, they're
It's
they sort
basically
of act
literally
as the
mind
same
chat,
thing,
it's-
but they are different. Like mine chat's for mobile, and then the console client is for like your actual desktop PC or whatever, right?
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
probably
Can you get it on-
clarify that.
Can you
these
get it
are-
on mobile?
No,
the console
no.
client,
No,
or is it
it's
an actual client for? Minecraft?
It's an actual well, it's not Minecraft itself. It's just like it logs you in the game,
Yeah, it
and
logs
then you
you in
can
and you can type.
interact with chat, and that's it.
Okay.
But
The
yeah,
simplification
that's
of
basically
Minecraft,
exactly what
basically.
MineChat does, but for computers. And
Mhm.
if you want
And
to
then
have like as we discussed last time, kind of AFK
AFK
player,
bot.
chunk loaders, or something like that,
Would
or
the
just want
console
to chat. That
would the
works
console
well.
client, like for instance, I know we're using Hypixel a lot for an example, but could you see every time someone else types a command, or just you?
Just you. It's
Okay.
basically just the chat window
You
of
see the normal
Minecraft.
chat in Minecraft.
That's
Like, I don't know if you noticed, but I actually messaged you with that. Like,
Yeah, you did.
I don't remember if I said that I used the console client, but
whilst
Yeah, you
using it, I
sent it to me
did
and I
notice
replied.
something that was a bit strange. When I was typing something and someone else posted a message on Hypixel, I all have fancy prefixes with all colors. So when I was in the middle of the sentence typing, um, everything was just spamming in my screen. It looks so strange. Can't really give pictures. I could maybe give a picture of it. It looks strange. but
Minechat's very
works.
popular for community servers as well. The Minecraft Reddit servers, the PvE, PvP, and the creative servers often have pseudo users who are busy taking up slots, but they're just staying in touch with their friends. They're just using the server as a hub for carrying on conversations and talking about what they're doing. It's extraordinary.
This
Yeah,
is
that's also
it's
why I use
chat
it
room.
most.
Yeah, it's social networking through Minecraft.
You can
That's
emulate everything in it.
Well, that's one way to put it.
Facebook for Minecraft.
Who needs friends? You can just build them in Minecraft.
Who needs a house? You can
That's
build
why we
it.
got command blocks, right? Build like armor stands, interactive armor stands. That's all we need.
Yeah.
They can move. They can. Yeah.
Alright.
Have an armor stand, and every time you walk by, it goes, "Hello, how is your day?"
I think
That
it's
wouldn't actually be
time for
that
somebody
hard.
to do that.
No, like it displays all colors correctly. It works exactly as advertised, so as far as we can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, that's about it. Also, from last week as follow up, we in the end discussed about syntax highlightings for command blocks, and I mentioned a picture that I wanted to link, but I never found, and that's why it's not in the show notes. If you guys noticed, yeah, I actually looked through over 4,000 pictures on Imgur and didn't find it. So we included a link for something else we found on our search, which is command blocks syntax highlighting mod for 1.8 from Crush Pixel, which is kind of new. And also, I'm not sure if we have the link for that in there as well. The command autocomplete mod that he did, which are two really cool things, and I highly encourage you to check them out because they're kind of what we talked about and what we really want. So also for the autocomplete mod, it gives you a bigger window. Like the command block window is just longer, so you can see more, which is kind of nice.
Oh, which reminds me, Abrightmoore, I know you're good with MCEdit, but how would you say you are with command blocks?
I love command blocks. I really enjoy the fact that we can create working contraptions that can reach into the data structures of Minecraft and manipulate all sorts of things. Change entity properties, you know, change all the zombies to be peaceful. It's a additional level of power over the game that we haven't had for so long. And now
Yeah.
that it's available, it's opened the floodgates for all sorts of interesting contraptions and creations. I love command blocks. I love working with them. They're fantastic.
Well, I think it's fair to say that command blocks only got real, I would say, like around 1.7. Before they were at the 1.3, so that's like mid 2012, I think, summer. I think it was like 1st of August or something. And yeah, I mean back then, what could you do with them? I think you had
GIF,
selectors,
an
so
apple, and
you could
you can
like
teleport
GIF.
persons.
if, TP, tal. So you could use it
Say.
for like adventure maps could use it for better signs, like text and stuff. So like colored text, that was cool. But I would say the real evolution happened in 1.7, where like people just figured out how to make structure generators with using a couple of
Spawners.
glitches. Yeah, using custom spawners. But that was basically completely invalidated once they started in September 2013, adding the snapshots of 1.7 with. I think they started with setblock alone, and then next week it was summon, and yeah, everything was just revolutionized basically. And I would say that's basically the point where you could build command blocks exceptions without any redstone. I would say just use fill clocks for everything. You could still have to use your comparators for some things, but
Now you don't anymore.
yeah, using command stats, you can also read out data from scoreboard values like that. So
I think it's
we've
fair
come
to
a
say
long
that
way.
it's a revolution, but it's been an evolutionary revolution. You talked about the structure generators, and I recall very clearly Traslander showcasing that feature using some MCEdit filters, which is where the power of MCEdit comes to play, that TexelElf had created. And the level of automation that TexelElf provided Traslander was so high that he was able to build almost a fully interactive environment with these structure spawning contraptions. And then as a result of people doing this, I think that Mojang took a look and said, well, actually, that could be pretty useful for us to give back to the community if we made it easier. They don't always make things easier, Mojang. They're clever people, but if they've got a feature in the product that allows you to do something, they tend to move on to the next thing, having satisfied the requirement, even if it's just a little bit difficult to work with. But in this case, I think they really did respond to what the community was excited about and looking to do, which was to generate objects in the environment within the game without having to break out into external tools. So it's an evolution, this process. We're somehow in partnership as a community with Mojang themselves.
That's actually an interesting idea. I have to admit, I never really thought of them adding those commands as in basically trying to add a way in to, well, basically make structure generators, make spawners, like spawning complex mobs and stuff, just using, without using external tools, without MCEdit and that kind of stuff. But yeah, you're right, totally right about the automation. Like, as far as I know though, the first video TexelElf made, which like kind of went viral, he used, I guess he used to fill, like, I vaguely remember that, but it was not, like, he still set it to quite tons of different stuff. Not different stuff. Like he had worked like like dozens of hours on this thing, just getting all of these spawners aligned. Because I think it was like not per block, but it wasn't per animation that he needed one spawner. Like that was using a filter Sevling made, his second structure spawner, I think. A couple of months later, or only a month later, I think, when it got released, and that one. Yeah, that opened the floodgates for structure generation. You could just have this tiny structure, like 5 by 5 or something, I don't know, and it could generate a structure of any size, and you could also make a similar structure to break it down again. So, yeah, we've gone a long way. I won't deny that. So, anyone else has something to say about spawners, I guess?
We definitely have gone a long way, that's for sure.
I kind of really liked back in the day when you had like cakes to break down your walls of your structure generator and all that stuff, because yeah, it was like the easiest way, cakes or slabs, because yeah, that's how it worked back then, and like everything was kind of really complicated with time zero falling sand entities and
Oh,
so on,
yeah.
and like you always had to use external programs because there was like literally no way to do it with normal Minecraft without anything else.
Now, all of those also advanced things, you can just, instead of using spawn, I don't think anyone is using spawners other than to spawn mobs in a CTM map or something like that. It's
know-
all with the command blocks, and you can do all of those things without external tools mostly.
I know,
Yeah.
like back in the day, like look at adventure map from years past, for example. If you look at it then, to look at the redstone, you'd have to look through like massive like amounts of like different clocks and like just different everything basically. Now it's just a few command blocks and boom, a whole minigame's created.
Yes, minigames are definitely getting more common, I would say. Whole new
Like
scheme of
imagine
things.
somebody. I know they couldn't because no slime blocks and the slime block mechanics, but imagine Missile Wars back in like alpha times. I mean, excuse me, beta times.
Speaking of minigames, have you guys played JL's Nightmare on Christmas map?
Oh
We
God,
have,
don't know.
but we did actually discuss it
We
last week.
talked about that already.
Yeah.
I
It makes
know.
me cry every time.
Oh, come on, it's not impossible.
It's
You only
not
have to know, like-
impossible, it's just wicked hard.
Actually, I got early solutions. Yay.
Cheater.
I can out-tease you with all kinds of glitches you don't know.
I know some of them. No, like I really like that they saw that the community is trying to do like things like structure spawners and so on, and then kind of took that back into the game to make it easier for everyone and open it for a wider audience. So now we see a lot of mini games and other stuff using command blocks popping up, which is quite awesome. But it's with a lot of things like originally pistons, slime blocks, for example, another thing. Horses from Mo creatures back in the day. All those kinds of things are things that Mojang took from the community and implemented in the game once
Well, isn't
once
that
they
what
thought
originally,
it was like
wasn't that originally what Pistons was? Wasn't Pistons started as just a mod?
yeah, Pistons was also just a mod originally, and then people used it so much that they implemented that.
Yeah, they did make some changes, but it
Yeah,
was,
and
it
of
was
course, but-
undoubtedly. I mean, they even chose the name Pistons, so. I mean,
Yeah, like
it's
I
just.
think the original Pistons mod you could like throw stuff upwards.
Yeah,
like,
so if you push, like, for example, sand up, it shots up in to the sky.
And-
You have this like sand waves, and which have now been recreated using sand blocks, which
Yep.
is actually
Now we
kind
can do it
of
again
nostalgic,
with
but
slime blocks.
it's a bit more complex because you can't just shoot them up from block state. You have to actually keep them in midair. But it's still possible. I think Sapling made a video on it. So that was actually kind of nostalgic. But yeah, so sometimes Mojang definitely sometimes listen to the community. Yeah, if you only want to go full, I guess, offensive mode on Mojang, they made this game after all, and we are grateful for it. But we just think some things may have should be done better. But oh well, we'll discuss that. Brightmoore, you know, well, you've been here for longer, so right.
Oh no. I'll jump in. I'll jump in after you
dude.
guys. Tell me what you know about MCEdit. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, he's just gonna wait and get the little noobs mess around for yeah.
The pain.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can just do like a quick round, like everyone tells a bit about this experience with MCEdit, like maybe like the order we have in the beginning.
Okay, so I guess that puts me first. Dark with MCEdit. It started out as I was trying to
Back
make
in my
a
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the good old days, shiny weed. Okay, but yeah,
No, just
it was crazy. Like I first downloaded MCEdit because I wanted to take like I had this box and it was like an idea to like put like 50 boxes around. I don't know why. I don't even remember why I was doing it actually. But anyway, I tried it with MCEdit and it took me like so long to even figure out how to turn my head in it. Like back this was back in
Yeah.
like Minecraft 1.3 maybe. So like
Around the
Once I
time I
figured
picked up MCEdit.
it was crazy. Like I finally did what I finally did what I wanted to do, but then I realized that I didn't save it, and then I ended up corrupting the world because I opened the world while it was still open in the MCEdit, which back then was a big no-no. So I haven't had really much luck with MCEdit. I haven't really used it too much, minus to copy things like something from one world to another, or like if I'm working on like a small mini game or something. But yeah, that's all for me, I guess, on that section. So move on to enemy.
Now we throw enemy under the bus.
Yeah, like my experience with MCEdit was I didn't use it like a lot actually. Like I think when was the first time? First time was quite a while ago when I tried to make custom items.
Four scored 7 years ago.
Like I wanted to make an item with lore text because back then you couldn't do that with commands, and I used a filter for that because I saw a video where someone explained that and I just downloaded the filter. Not sure whose filter it was. Yeah, and then I made a custom item with lore and I was so happy. And yeah, since then, the thing I use the most is probably the schematics feature that you can just import contraptions or like parts of another person's world and look at it and play around. And yeah, just generally copying stuff around your world to like make more space, like in a test world, for example.
Yeah.
Or like just sharing, like, hey, I made this contraption. Can you show me how to make it better or something? And I just make a schematic and send it to the other person because that's the easiest way to do it most of the time. Or like instead of the complete world file, when there's like other stuff around it, I don't necessarily want to share or need to share. Apart from that, recently I used the analyze feature, where it just like it tells you in a text document all the blocks that are in a specific selection. And yeah, like for when we build farms on a survival that require a lot of resources, I can just check how much exactly I need and then get everything before we start building. So that's quite useful. Yeah, like apart from that, I haven't used it a whole ton. Messed around with some other filters as well, but I'm not really good at it, and I'm not the person to go to for help. So
I did try
moving on to my
Yeah,
show.
It's quite funny though that you say you're the one who knows nothing about it, but you're the one who talks the most about it.
So far, yeah.
I'm
there's
pretty
no
sure
issue or
Brightmoore
something,
will have
but
a
it's
lot
just
to
funny.
say about this.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Well, anyways, basically, I first started out using MCEdit in 1.3, and I had a derpy like wooden circle that I had, which was my base. And I was like, I don't want to go all the way out to this mushroom biome. I want the mushroom biome right next to my house.
Oh
Laziness.
wow.
So I just took MCEdit and after like watching 10 different video tutorials trying to figure out how to get it to work, I finally managed to take the chunks and put them right next to my base. I played on tiny render distance, so it looks like it was really far away, but if you played on like far render distance, it would look like it was pretty close. But anyways, so once I brought those over, I was like, dang, there's no mushroom cows.
Ah.
Yeah, we're getting technical.
Don't you mean mushrooms?
Yeah, but anyways, that kind of bummed me out. So then I didn't
Then
touch I didn't touch MCEdit for a long time.
Yeah,
and
he's been
then
traumatized.
yes, I was traumatized. And then basically, what I decided to do next was like around the time of 1.5, I was making a gold farm. And yeah, 1.3 to 1.5, somewhere along that line I became technical. But I was making a gold farm and I didn't want to build the whole thing. So I used MCEdit and I copied the slices of the shifting floors multiple times next to each other. And soon after that, I rotated the structure so that I could have two of them like kind of angled towards each other. And then once I loaded the world back up, the hoppers weren't facing it into each other. They were facing into a long chain. So I messed up as far as that went. But yeah, that's... And recently I've just been working on a quad witch hut perimeter in creative and trying to make the best quad witch hut I possibly can.
In creative.
Yeah, in creative. Just testing it so that I could
Doesn't
do
that
it
defeat the purpose?
later, maybe.
There's command blocks for Quad would
But
shut
I
for
suck with
the-
command blocks, so I don't know how to do that.
It's
Uh,
literally
Jelly here
copy a
about this.
command and paste a command.
Yeah.
And then
Okay, Mama Dark.
press a button.
I wanted to keep the witch
You actually
huts
have to
there.
place a redstone thing next to it. So
Well,
Still.
it's kind of difficult.
Yeah,
Okay, but we
it
got it.
requires effort. But anyways, Niels.
The first time I can remember that I used MCEdit was I was playing on really long ago when I first started playing on a server. We were making a little town with a couple of friends, and we were designing how the houses should look. So we wanted a super flat world. So I figured out how to use Hamachi and set up a server. And someone built a house, but it had to be moved. And we didn't want to tear it down. So that was I think the first time I used MCEdit. And yeah, it was just moving it. But yeah, it was whoa.
That's some
now
fancy
it was there, now
technology.
it's there. Yeah, it was pretty special and that you don't have to do anything. And after that, when I worked on a minigame, yeah, those dispensers were running out, and that was stupid. We had to refill it after each test run, so I used some filters to make them infinite. Other than that, I didn't really do a lot with edit. Yeah, then over to Wout, I think.
Yep.
Okay, I guess.
Oh, I was sleeping.
Before he gets started, I just want to say something. I'm actually gonna have to step out for a second. So you're gonna want to skip me and just move all the way down to Abrightmoore. Abrightmoore. Yeah.
Way to fail, Fag. Way to fail.
We need more
Sorry.
brightness.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's so dark
That's
outside.
wrong. What?
I'll do your update, Zag.
Continue on.
Yeah, Zag,
Huh?
I'll do your update. How's that?
All right, that works.
Yeah.
Make sure not to forget anything.
That's
Alright.
easy.
Okay. As far as I remember, at least, but I'm trying to find the date on my computer, but it says my MCEdit is from 17th of April 2012,
From
which is way too
1795.
1795. That's when I started using it. No, but I actually there was I think some updates. Well, so yeah. As far as I remember, unfortunately, I can't get the exact date. No, but I think I got MCEdit like a week and a half or something after I started playing, or not too long, because quite I think a week afterwards, after I started playing survival, my brother was talking about, oh my god, you have to check out Redstone, it's awesome. And yeah, so I started doing that, and I went to shortly afterwards I started building a 3-digit binary decimal to binary converter using Redstone. But the thing was huge. Like I had built like 1 digit, and I need way more space. And just for the like younger viewers, back in we're talking about beta 1.8 here, so you couldn't even open chat. There was no chat in single player. You could know because you couldn't write commands. There were no commands, so
Oh,
you didn't
God.
chat. So and
remember
also
those
there
days.
was no flatland, so I had to like build these in like valleys, keep it kind of flat. And there also weren't, like, as I said, no commands, so you couldn't just clear an area. So my brother said, yeah, oh yeah, you need space for this thing. Yeah, I have this like this super complex tool. I will download and install it for you because I was still a little kid, I guess. So yeah, he just cleared that for me. But I don't know when I really started using it myself though. But I guess I'm pretty sure like half a year later when I started working on the adventure map, I did have some. Yeah, I did know some things about how to use it, like on my own, I guess. So I would say something. I've been using it for a while now, and since the summer of 2013, that's when I started writing filters. Well, first filter, I guess. And since then, of course, I've been using it a lot because I write filters, and I think that's about it.
And might I add, Wout made 2 filters for me because I'm greedy.
Yeah, very greedy. Yeah.
We know that, Spock, so.
Yeah.
Just to
Also,
say that every episode.
Yeah.
one thing we may have to mention, because I just realized we have not even mention it this podcast, but the reason we're talking about MCEdit, which is an external tool to Minecraft, is because, as you are probably realizing by now, if you haven't used the tool yet, it's pretty versatile, I guess is the right word. Like, you can do incredible stuff with it, especially with filters, because that allows you to, as Brightmoore already explained, write your own code to do stuff you want. But of course, you need to learn which functions to input and output and that kind of stuff. But I guess we'll talk about it later on, maybe. But yeah, so moving on to, I guess, Brightmoore, because Zach isn't here.
Sure. So before Zag jumped out, he said that he loves the tool. He would, if he could, also play in MCEdit more than in Minecraft. And now that he knows that MCEdit exists, you won't see him on your server anymore. He'll be so busy playing in MCEdit. So I'm really glad that he's made that commitment to everyone. So thank you, Zag.
Yeah,
And this is totally not feeding words into Zach's mouth.
Micro, anyone, if he comes back on the server, just get Vibe on, get him banned, because he's not keeping his promise, alright?
Yeah, he didn't spend enough time on the MCEdit.
Yeah,
He didn't reach his goal.
Get back when you've done your MCEdit, boy.
That goes
That's
if he's
right.
on Hypixel anymore too.
Unless he can
anyone
wave
that
around
knows-
his, unless he
Yeah,
can wave around his MCEdit certification.
Global
Everyone gets
ban
it.
hammer.
Yeah. Anyway, so look, I agree with everything that you've said. My introduction to MCEdit was basically because at heart I'm lazy, and I think I died in a ravine on a single player world, and I didn't know where it was, and I really wanted all my stuff. So this was back before we had the ability to teleport or to jump to coordinates and do those sorts of things. So I pulled down MCEdit, opened up a world, and I went hunting for where I was dead, and that then let me in game reposition my player so that when I came alive again, my spawn point, when I came alive again, it was right next to all the stuff that I had collected but lost at the bottom of the ravine. So I was very happy with the tool right from the start. It fed my greed and my laziness. It was really good. You guys have all had a really consistent theme as you've been talking about the tool, which is that it lets you do things that you can't otherwise do. And I think that is its key strength. Even though over time the game has become more complex and we've got more features to play with without breaking out to external tools, MCEdit's been a constant presence where people have been able to use it to achieve revolutionary new features and designs and models and modules and approaches to problems that you couldn't do in game. So one of MCEdit's sweet spots is for these innovators and these people like yourselves who want to make something that is just not possible with the vanilla game engine to design and build, but is possible to run in the vanilla game. And that's where, Traslander's spawner structure spawning thing was so revolutionary, using Texel Elf's filter in MCEdit, because those sorts of things are all possible with MCEdit. And if you want to be on the bleeding edge of Minecraft concepts or Minecraft feature development, you really have to use MCEdit to accomplish those things.
But I don't want to bleed.
No one wants to
Australian
bleed.
English or something, or...
But everyone wants to be where the action is. So
Well, most people,
if
yeah.
that appeals to you, if that's the sort of thing that gets you excited about sitting down at your computer, doing something new and exciting that has the potential to really change the game, I think it all starts with MCEdit.
Like
Well,
when we in the process of planning for this episode, once I found out that we are going to be doing MCEdit, I looked up on YouTube and I didn't realize there were so many series that was based off of pure MCEdit only. Like I know Vex does one, and like he's just building a custom map basically all in MCEdit. So pretty.
That's absolutely right. That's a great series too. I think is he building it for one of his mates on the Minecraft server so that they can then both go through this map together.
I'm not sure, but
he's explaining the design choices behind his hostile series. He's customizing mobs, and he's placing them in such a way that, you know, here's a bunker and I want the mobs to flow out when I come around this corner. It's very interesting to see how people design within the game, using the MCEdit toolset as the canvas.
Yeah, I remember watching ages ago Vex Test World series when that was still running. I'm not sure if he is, but either way, I really like that series.
I actually have not heard of this. Well, I guess map-making series. I have not seen it. I mean, you're talking about, but I can definitely when I look at MCEdit, for me there are actually two kind of distinct functions, and I don't think any is lesser or anything to the other, but I'm not sure if you agree with this, Brightmoore, or anyone else. But yeah, when I look at your filters, they're more like about, I would say, not terraforming in specific, but about building basically. Whereas a lot of people, including me, like back in the day when spawners were useful, it was about creating these complex spawners using kilobytes of data, and I guess in these days just building stacks of command blocks and that kind of stuff. So that for me, that separation is kind of there, but I just like to categorize stuff, I guess. So but yeah, MCEdit actually can be used to place blocks. It's not extremely practical, but on larger scales for terraforming, it is definitely a tool you can use for that, especially back in the day when there wasn't that much other stuff. I can actually see it's like super hostile maps, some of them being built almost entirely in MCEdit, because just such a large scale and that world and that kind of stuff. MCEdit was a really good tool for that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The distinction you draw. Certainly, people like TexelElf will work a lot more in the NBT attributes than they will in blocks. People like SethBling straddle both types of MCEdit custom programs. So SethBling I think you were talking about a law filter earlier on. I remember SethBling has a number of helpers for map makers and people like Vex that are trying to add some interest to the maps, you know, named mobs, putting things in chests and then making those chests become an equipped zombie. So he really has that landscape of NBT, deeper data structures, coupled with these other world-changing, you know, block manipulation filters, and that's actually what got me into this. SethBling put out a circular structure filter. He put out just a tool, and what it let you do was take a slice of blocks and it would rotate them 360 degrees. When I saw this thing, it was like the holy grail of Minecraft / Star Wars crossovers, because I thought to myself, aha, Death Star. Everyone makes Death Stars, but they're just spheres and they look horrible and they're not big enough. But here, SethBling gave us a quick and easy tool that we could use just to generate a Death Star from nothing. I thought that was fantastic, so I went ahead and did it. And it taught me a few things, but it also gave me this appetite for using the computer to make architectural models. And you're right, I sit on that side of the fence most of the time. I do have a lot of command block filters, and one of my early filters was for creating falling sand spawners. That's right. They made, yeah, 3D animations in the world, and I called it a framination filter because it would take frames of animations and interlock them like a cartoon or you know, just a flip book.
20 FPS falling sand was good.
So that's right. I sit on the side of the fence that says that the most value you can give to a map maker in Minecraft is to give them a tool that starts them off and gets rid of the largest problems that are otherwise time consuming or tedious. Whereas TexelElf sits on the side of there is no API that is easy to get access to, and so he produces programs that allow you to bring in GIFs and PNG files. I don't know if you've seen Purple's most recent video where he's got it's an animation that goes for about a minute. It's got close to 4,500 frames of this film, and he's playing it through maps that are loaded on item frames. So it's a full-on movie in Minecraft that you can watch start to finish. And he did it using one of TexelElf's filters, which is called MCEdit, that he's updated at Purple's request to become Batchit. It takes a video, an animated GIF, and makes it into all the maps that you would need to play a film in Minecraft on an item frame. That interaction between the people who need to do something but lack the tools to do it in human time. No one wants to spend a month typing in the same thing over and over again. The interaction between those people and the filter writers who are producing workflows or producing little programs that just make it trivial for you to do very, very complex or time-consuming things is what I've learned is the value proposition for MCEdit. MCEdit makes the impossible possible, and it makes the long and tedious trivial and easy. It's a fantastic tool.
Yeah. However, when you talk about TextElf, like there's no API. In some of the cases, he tries to cover, I would say. There definitely isn't an easy to use API, but for example, when it gets to my filters, they're not that complex typically. So, but I just want to get like a large amount of work done, like, and typically something which is very procedurally generated. Like, I have actually tried to build like these filters which manipulate blocks. I think it was like basically my filter back one in the summer. That was kind of me trying that, but you actually need to find algorithms. Like, I thought, how can I generate a web like using an algorithm? And those things require quite some originality. That's almost like getting into computer science. So I definitely want to give credit to that. But regardless, I personally actually use filters just for something small. Like yesterday, I had like this big command block structure, like over 1,000 command blocks. I think more actually, and for a minigame, and I wanted to find out how he did a specific thing, and I knew that it was gonna contain a specific string, so I could of course look around and try to logically deduce where the structure would be in the large conception. But the easiest solution I think was just to write a filter, and I just went ahead. It took me like 5 minutes or something, and 5 more minutes to get it running, get the data out, and yeah, you can also use it for very simple tasks which would just take a long time, and that's not just in the area of terraforming, but also in the technical area. Not just when it gets to reading, but typically when it gets to generating stuff like, another example would be the science scroller. Jasper Jand made a concept once where he, for the viewers, I think some people here may have seen it, but basically you had a sign, and by constantly updating the entity data, he could make it seem as if the text on the scale sign is scrolling away. But of course that requires a lot of command blocks, because every time you have to shift your text and that kind of stuff. And that, I mean, in my opinion, that's definitely an easy API. Easy. It has a basic API which allows you to do a lot of stuff. But when it gets to automation of giant structures, MCEdit is definitely a nice tool, especially filters, because you can customize the function.
Yeah, well, I think you and I first sort of crossed paths. Was it the snow cover filter?
You actually commented on my first filter, and I have no clue how you got there. But it was a text generator. I
think Wout just
that's
spammed
right.
it a lot.
I did not. I heard about you.
YouTube.com/12345 wow 12345.
The link's in the description.
Shownotes.
Yeah. So I actually I knew you. I think half a year earlier. I first that's when I started to that's when I first found your channel. Yeah, you know the fragmentation filter, right? In fact, I already knew you since May 2013. I was like, okay, fragmentations is nice, but fortunately this was discovered 2 snapshots before they added spawner minecarts. So the whole concept was still based on the use of spawner blocks, which was laggy and they require a lot of space. And you couldn't turn them off, which was the worst thing about them. You constantly had to have them running and checking for the player to be nearby or not. So the first filter I made, which actually never got published, but it was working. It should still be working right now. Just in August, I started, but I gave up. I took your fragmentation filter and I took saplings structure generator filter later on. Actually, I based it on saplings filter in the end because it's actually very similar to that, strangely enough. But yeah, I just took that, and in August, I went ahead and edited it for a bit, and then you had basically sapling structure which summoned falling sand continuously as long as the lever was on to do a certain animation. That's where I first knew you from, just for the story, I guess.
Reunion time.
Yeah.
Well, I will throw it out there though. You're absolutely right, and I do recall now. But this other story is the one I want to tell, so I'm going to pretend. I was working on a snow.
Oh no!
Remember do you remember the layers of snow? There's 7 data value. Anyway, you can have
8,
low
right.
snow, and then you can have a full snow block.
Yeah.
And everyone was whinging and complaining that there's no way to create a snow field and to make it look as if it's a rolling landscape smoothly.
Stole your filter, sorry.
No, you did a much better job. So I'd made this thing that was...
Oh no.
It was horrible. It was a terrible filter. And I've got to apologize to everyone. You guys get to see me at my worst. I produce stuff and I put it aside, and then I pick it up a year later, and you get stuck with all the crap. But this thing that you'd put out solved the problem that I hadn't solved, and I was very grateful, because it's not the writing the filter that's the fun bit. It's the using the product of the filter. So I really don't care where the solution comes from, and I'm so happy that we've got such a vibrant and active community of people who are prepared to help each other out and openly share the fruits of their labours, because I think that's very healthy. And in any community, once you start getting people who are more concerned about what's theirs than what is everyone's, I think that's not healthy. But we don't have that. We've got a lot of people who are prepared to openly share their work and have it critiqued and have it used again and again and again by other people. Seth Bling is a great example. Texel Alpha is a great example. Well, I've used your stuff. So the assets that we create live on in other people's work. And I think that's also a great sign of a healthy community. But, there's not a lot of us when it comes to the MCEdit filter writers. It's a growing community, and anyone is welcome to plug in and start talking about their ideas and how the existing filter writers can help them become more capable at realizing their ideas. But there aren't a lot of us when you compare it with 18 million PC registered users and 30 million PE users. And so it's great that we're so open and willing to share and willing to discuss without getting very sensitive about who owns what. I think that's fantastic.
Well, I think actually part of that, you could say almost internet mentality, if you think that's how the internet works. I like the internet a lot because of that, but I think it grows for a large part because of the exclusiveness. Basically, it's not like we're isolating anyone or ruining anyone, but it's just such a small community, as you say. Most MCEdit users don't really interact that much with filter writers, I would say. When it gets to filter writers themselves, most of them interact with each other, because I think it's fair to say they probably are only maybe 60 people on Earth which know some of these functions. Like, I'm not saying we're exceptional or something. It's just you have to look at the MCEdit, other filters for a bit. You have to look at MCEdit for a bit. But there aren't
I'm
that
not
much people, so.
Yeah, because not everyone publishes all of their filters. Maybe there are some people.
Yeah,
I heard
indeed.
it once earlier that often people who make a video, the famous YouTubers, they get credit for stuff, but maybe someone else has discovered it earlier, and he never makes a video out of it, so nobody knows about it. So maybe there are more filter writers that just don't make videos and
Yeah, I
just
definitely
use
think
it for
that's possible.
personal use.
I definitely think that's true. In fact, that's why I say 60, because I don't know, but I can't count up to 10 filter writers I know. Or maybe not just up to 10.
Yeah, you can only
but-
count up to 5.
So,
I can count to 2.
I can,
Oh, who
I can,
can
go,
Josh,
two?
count to 2.
yeah.
I can go to 30 if I use my teeth.
What the hell? Yeah, well, I bet, like, if you use MCEdit filter writers, if you count them, yeah, and then we go for 10 or something. So,
I know
definitely
WoW
trying
and
to
Brightmoore,
include.
that's it.
Come on, like Code Raider, Texel, Self-Blink.
Code Raider writes?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, MCEdit filters, easy. I made a couple, but they were just for personal use.
Yeah, Podshot, Nickel Potent.
But Podshot is known
there's
within the community, but...
heaps of people. But you're right. In terms of prominence, there's a much more visible YouTube presence. People who do YouTube and do it really well and have hundreds of thousands of subscribers are amazing. Those guys have to actively entertain a large audience, and they have to keep it interesting. You've got to think about what the filter writers do. If it's something that they're focused on, like myself, very hard to entertain people when you're talking about code. So when you get those YouTubers who really know what they're doing and really know how to make a channel pop, I think it's okay that they're doing the showcasing and they're doing the presentation of the ideas, and it's all about this theme of having openness and having more people have the opportunity to play with the tool set. Doesn't mean that 18 million people. I don't know how many people subscribe to. Let's say Seth Blink. He's a great example. He must have nearly 1.5 million. He'd be beyond that now, I guess. There's 1.5 million people, say, watching his channel. If only a couple of them, like I did, plug into what he's talking about when he says, I wrote a filter, and they then go investigating, and they find that there's this community in the back end that is prepared to help and support them learn, grow, do something new, stretch their skill sets, learn a bit of code, maybe they're not coders, then that's healthy as well. It's sort of like the YouTube is the gateway to a much more satisfying Minecraft experience. When you're bored of all the normal stuff, there's still more things to do behind the scenes and deeper in the product.
Well, I guess it applies to map makers and such. I mean, I think when it gets to the average Minecraft player, like, everyone does what they want to do. But I think most people just have Minecraft, like, to play once in a row, every while, join Hypixel, play a couple of games, and then...
Yeah, Blitz, and I don't know what to
real
do.
life
Let's
and
YouTube
stuff.
another round of Blitz.
The way you just described was how I got to technical Minecraft. Like, I saw some YouTube videos of people building big farms and having all the drops, and I got interested and looked around a bit and started doing stuff myself, and
Ooh, that looks cool. Let me build that.
and kind of ended up here with you guys.
That looks cool, but I could do it better.
Yeah, like
That's,
you
that's
look
my
at it,
mentality a lot as well.
you see stuff on there, and like back when it was new to me, like wow, 20,000 items an hour, whoa.
Whoa.
And now it's like you look at it and it's like
8,000 slime balls an hour.
you could do that a bit better, and there's
Yeah.
room for improvement over here. And yeah, I guess with the filter writers, it's like, this does kind of the thing I want, but not totally, so I can just use it and change it a bit.
And you
and so
don't
on.
you don't necessarily need to be into filters either to use the tool. You've used the example of moving your biomes around, which is so very clever. I'm so going to do that. But also there's tools in the tool that you can use that are not writing filters. Us filter writers are weird, but the tool itself is something you can pick up and just dabble in. So there's a lot more people who use MCEdit. And then there's a bunch of people who develop MCEdit. So MCEdit is, it comes in two flavors. Version 1 is the one that we all know and love, and it is still actively under development. There's a team that has sprung up from what appeared to be a bit of a vacuum when Code Warrior was off on other projects. Code Warrior is the guy who created MCEdit to start with, and then open sourced it, made it available for other people to add features. And now he's working on MCEdit version 2, which is slicker, faster, more impressive, but at the moment it's just a prototype. MCEdit version 1 is being developed by a team of, I think, about 20 people who are adding features.
I'm surprised, like, I only heard of a couple of these people.
Yeah, so
I don't know one of them.
Rubisk and
Podshots,
Podshot, yeah, they're part of that story. Crocky is sort of convening the group to drive the tool forward. They're active in the sense that you can actually tell them, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could do this? And then, you know, the next week suddenly there's a new feature in it as they release it. So it's a very powerful tool, but it's also still actively being maintained by the community. So it really is such a great engine for you to do the things that you can't do yet in Minecraft. And I would urge you at least to take a look at a couple of videos to see whether it's right for you. If you're thinking, is there something that I can do? Oh no, I can't in Minecraft. Maybe MCEdit is the way that you can achieve your goals.
I definitely think that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone really disagrees that MCEdit is a powerful tool. But for me, when it gets to other versions, I like to see the community active. I liked it a lot to see that stuff was moving on. Like Code Warrior recently has become active again. Look, that's very nice. But before, like say November, people weren't sure if he was ever really coming back. So it's really nice to see people step up. Like again, one of these nice things. It's open source. It's on GitHub. You can just edit it and create a new branch. Submit it, your own changes. Other people can review that. That's a wonderful mentality, in my opinion.
And that's why I think Minecraft has stayed popular as long as it has, because once you get bored of building, you could go into the technical side and Redstone and stuff like that. And once you get bored of that, you have the creative aspect of it, like different mini games and stuff. And then you have even stuff outside of the game, like, for example, MCEdit. Like, there's so much stuff.
You can play MCEdit.
Yeah, there's so much stuff you can do, and
Yeah.
just based off of Minecraft alone, like you could play like hundreds of games within the game. So, like I've seen people argue that Minecraft is its own game engine itself.
That wouldn't be far from the truth.
I guess one person, ironically, would disagree with that, Brightmoore, but well, myself. But yeah, it's a discussion. I mean, no one will disagree that it's a powerful tool to create games, but it's then again, it's just a bit. When I have been thinking for a long time to create this like big project, I'm not gonna tally Minecraft, an adventure map, insane. Probably never gonna finish it anyway, of course, but just an ambition, right? But back in August, with everything happening, Eula, Mojang being bought again by Microsoft.
Everybody's best friend, the Eula.
Yeah, I mean, it does make you. It did like shock me how dependent I would be to create something. Like, you can write a book, you can paint, like all of that kind of stuff. Really, almost. There's no one holding you back, but when you want to create something in this game, you're bound by a lot of stuff. And I think that's maybe for some people even be a bigger drawback from using it than just the physical limits of it itself.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe we're deviating too far from the topic of MCEdit.
I think though, content creation in Minecraft remains a good idea. You look at a lot of the successful networks who keep releasing mini games and keep their subscriber base active. You've used one example. There are more. They're doing okay with this as a platform for gaming, even if it's not the core game that's produced by Mojang, and it's their custom extensions to the server product with paintball and those sorts of things. They're constantly innovating. They're constantly looking for something that will keep people interested, and that's got to be healthy for people who are also looking to be interested. It's a big community out there, and I think there's enough people to sustain Minecraft products and Minecraft content a long way into the future.
And it's been a big topic that, like, if Minecraft is dying, and I completely disagree with that. Like, as soon as it starts to die, somebody finds something completely new and great in it, and then it goes from there, and then it just is like a complete permanent cycle.
And something new, and everyone is doing that for a while, and then after that, someone will find something new.
Like
Bridges!
18 million people, that someone will find something.
even God
Let's-
forbid
let's-
one day Mojang stops developing Minecraft and like Microsoft decides to discontinue it because no one's making it, and then like I'm pretty sure the community of Minecraft will continue the game on to bigger and better things. Yes, it'll all be mod based, but still it will be. I mean, it still would keep going.
I am not as positive about it. Yeah, well, the thing is just is a lot of things, well, internet related, computer related, modern, and there aren't really any Minecraft. A lot of people say Minecraft's like this new thing, big new thing. So How
Big
come
new
we-
thing. Been around for 5 years.
big new thing when it was like
Iron Farm.
there was no real big sandbox games like this when it got released, and I think at least, and yeah. So what are we comparing it to? You can always theorize about stuff, but when it gets down to it, if I want certainty, I want to see precedents basically. And in the computer world, often those don't exist yet because we're living in the 21st century. Minecraft has been around for 5 years. Like, massively played games have only been around for like 15, I would say 10 to be honest, but alright. It's hard to anticipate, to predict much, in my opinion, without this little amount of data we've had
Yeah.
at this point.
I mean, games have had massive like explosion points. Like as soon as they're released, so many people play them. Then like a week later, nobody cares.
GTA 5.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty Black Ops was the biggest example. Like when that first got released, it was like, oh my god, oh my god. A week later,
What was it?
I still hear
A week
about it now,
later,
but-
I'm gonna go back to playing Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Pokemon, I guess, would be a longer lasting example then.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah, that's because they're constantly making a new game about it, I guess.
I know, like from the game itself, it doesn't really compare, but Counter-Strike was like one of these things which like started small, like with like a bunch of modders basically for Half-Life, and the community carried it like over a decade, like maybe 2 even by now. I have no idea, but like Counter-Strike is still around and like still being played on big stages and for like competitive and everything. And I think with Minecraft we have like also a really dedicated, awesome community that will keep the game alive as long as they can and
Yeah, Zipcross is gonna take it over once Mojang's done.
make better code anyway.
You don't.
They
You
wouldn't
haven't seen a
patch
slime
sand
block.
generators.
You haven't seen a slime block bug, have you?
No, I haven't.
Exactly.
Hey guys, we found this bug in the code. What a coincidence. Yeah.
No, like the community is one big thing that carries Minecraft because like you can look at so many other communities and there's like people yelling at each other and like you can't have one game without like being accused of whatever. And with Minecraft, like everyone is like happy and sharing and welcoming.
I
And
think you're a bit picky. Like, have you been on public
No,
servers
yeah,
like
like-
Hypixel?
and like on PvP servers, there's always this competitive thing that
Yeah. Or even
Like, in-
there, everyone says
in
hacker.
general, like so far, like my experience with the community was excellent, and I had never had it in any other community before, and like I think that can keep Minecraft alive for a long time. But yeah, back to the
Well, you could
all-around weapon for tools. MCEdit.
Well, actually, something about durability, I would say. Actually, something I really wanted to mention about MCEdit, which is, and I really like it actually. Compatibility. Minecraft, I think Brightmoore, you probably know more about this because you've been doing this for a while, I think. But the Minecraft world format, I think last change was to 1.2 with the Anvil format, which has been used since then. And yeah, like the current MCEdit, as far as I know, can open worlds generated from 1.2 up to now, and this is a powerful thing, any mods from then, as long as they don't update, as long as they don't use a fundamentally different way like MBT to store the world, then MCEdit can read it, and MCEdit doesn't care about like what kind of weird mobs and entities are inside of it. It just copies and it reads and it copies back, and it doesn't really do any
It
checks.
doesn't really care about the details, I guess.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
have
so-
the fancy
It
textures.
just does
Stuff.
it. That's all.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
even when it looked like Code Warrior wasn't coming back to this, like it wasn't like a big issue. We didn't have textures of 1.8 or something or 1.7, yes. But we could still use that stuff.
Yeah.
It's definitely nice to have it updated, but
I think the final thing that I'll share is the reason I've chosen Minecraft as a platform is this openness. Anything that I do in Minecraft is still accessible to me. It's not a closed environment. I can export, I can convert, I can save builds away up on my site and get to them 12 months down the track. Whereas with other tools that include level editors, it's not as portable and it's not as open to the user or the player getting access to the stuff that they've worked so hard on. Minecraft is great for that, the ability to create quite complex constructions, but MCEdit unlocks them and gives you that full access to your worlds, to the buildings that you've constructed, to the mob farms that you've devised, and that capability that it presents me with is why Minecraft is such a useful platform. It's just completely open with MCEdit.
well, yeah, Minecraft itself, like, obfuscation, but
Another point on the compatibility of MCEdit, like I haven't used MCEdit for quite a while till I did the analysis for a farm we recently built on our survival, and I opened the world download for the farm with the MCEdit version I still had, which is 0.1.7.1. And like the farm was built out of clay blocks, and it said future block. And I looked at it and
yeah.
wait, clay blocks are future blocks? And
Yeah,
I checked.
stained clay, right?
Yeah, stained clay.
Yeah, okay, luckily.
And then I downloaded a more current version, which is 1.2.4.0. It's like, yeah, and then all of a sudden everything works again and no problems at all. Like even blocks that aren't in the game yet when the version came out, like even with that, like MCEdit doesn't break, which is like awesome.
Yeah, well, all MCEdit really worries about is when you're just placing or cloning blocks, it just says, hey, here's this block, let's put more of it here. it doesn't really care about anything else. It just
I mean,
saves
just
it to the
sets a
save
bunch of
file.
values, so
Yeah.
copy strings.
Yeah, the user
The copy, the place
wanted this blocks. I don't know what block it is. It just wants to move it from here to there. Like I don't know what it is. Just pick it up and move it.
MCEdit uses abstraction for those of you who are into programming things.
You could call it abstraction, yes. Yeah, it's just really a nice thing. And only thing you could say you have to fear then is the Minecraft world format changing, which hasn't happened
Yeah.
for almost 3 years now. So
I
it may happen
don't.
at some point, but it will
We're
take a
on,
while.
we're on the cusp of it. I think MCEdit version 2 is necessary because of the block state system that's being introduced. All
I
the
have to admit,
numbers,
I do not
all
know
the weird
really
numbers
how
that
block states work.
Like, for example, Minecraft:(C_lantern.
Yep, and all
Like-
the different,
No,
this
no,
stairs
no,
pointing
that's
left
something
and this
different.
stairs pointing.
Yeah, it's not block
I
IDs
see, but
anymore.
I thought-
that's the big thing.
That's maybe the time for an FAQ, because I think you've been following MCEdit Unified more, which has been trying to deal with this issue. When you talk about stairs, why isn't that saved in data value as it used to?
It's this issue, absolutely. So there's been some internal work that Mojang's done to make the game more modular, more ready for it being a custom platform for all sorts of purposes. And yeah, all these changes are destructive in the long term. Once they're locked in, we won't be able to say, black wool is ID whatever it is, 77, data value 15. That it's meaningless to us
35.
now. Well,
Yeah,
there you
it
go.
reminds me of
See?
those days where everyone was reminding every block number. Oh yeah, if you want this block, just
That's the thing.
22. Now
Get-
it's
get
just
central.
Minecraft:(dirt).
I still find it
Alright,
the most
guys.
ironic thing that the lever was number 69. That's the only block number I still remember.
Guys, please let Aiden talk for a second.
I know that the lamp is 123.
Command block. With the
You heard it here
137.
first.
137.
Yeah.
I don't even know command blocks, and I can tell that. Like,
137, but come on, guys.
literally
Anyone's
ask
talking.
anybody who's typed in a command before in their entire life, and they'll probably know what the ID for a command block is.
Yeah,
Like,
it's weird how like you have all these numbers which mean nothing to a person that never like looked at it that close. But like if you ask anyone who like thought of it a bit, like, hey, do you remember what's a diamond sword or something like that? And like, oh yeah, it's 276. and like by now it's like in one day it's a Minecraft diamond sword. and it's like
It kind of
al-
takes away like the intelligence behind it, I guess.
I learned all this for nothing. No, but like with
Welcome
that
to life.
with that new modularity, maybe they're finally prepping for mod API.
Yeah,
Mod
Ugh.
API is like the Half-Life 3 of Minecraft.
basically. 10 years later. But
Soon.
one of the things though with block states, and like people say, oh, we will have to use IDs. I'm sorry, we have to use strings instead of numbers. But as far as I know, I think I even got a response from Dinnerborn once
Whoa.
on the matter. He sometimes, yeah, if you're early on his tweets, he actually sometimes responds. He's not like.
You name
God.
dropper.
I'm trying to tell a story, just to add. It wasn't to name.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Hey,
that
just
was
go
on
talked
with
to
your
me
story.
before.
Just
Oh,
that.
go
It was
on.
just to improve the credibility of the claim that he said that, I think, as far as I remember, that nothing fundamentally was really being changed at the point. And they didn't plan to, because I asked at what point will basically data values, well, they didn't say anything about data values, but like, when will IDs be replaced by strings? When do we have to rewrite all of our MCEdit filters to fit the new format? And he said, no, that's not going to happen. And when you think about it, it makes sense, because strings are insane. Like, I think it's using Unicode, a Unicode 8-bit or something. Yeah, I think UTF-8. So that would be, per character, you need an entire byte then, so... Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be that as efficient as with a number. as a result, they probably won't be doing that. So I don't really see how. I mean, technically, it is possible that they change their mind, but I just don't see them really changing it in the fundamentally in the level formats. Rather, I see what they're doing right now, which is forcing you to use commands which use don't use numeric IDs anymore. That's all.
Yeah. I really miss typing in the numbers.
It used to be. It's a bit nostalgic, I guess, but I'm alright with it right now. It does take a little bit longer though, but you don't have to constantly look them up.
Yeah,
But
that's,
it is
that's
nice.
like the first thing I thought of, like, oh, it's gonna take forever typing all these long names. But yeah, with the autocomplete function,
It helps, but
It's-
it's not as quick.
Well, I mean,
that's
some
not
things
as
are
problematic.
kind of strange. Like when you're looking for lapis, it's not lapis. It's Minecraft : die.
Yeah. Unpowered
Oh, yeah.
repeaters. Yeah.
Some
Yeah, like
names are just
some things are
strange,
just
and
weird. Yeah.
you still have to look them up then. So
Like also what I think they should really do by now, like autocomplete inside command blocks, because like if you
Yes.
like in a command block, like but what was like the unpowered repeater, or what was the repeater again? And you like go out of the command block, open your chat, and then type it there, the whole thing again, or copy it in, and then
And
try
damn it,
with
it doesn't
autocomplete,
fit.
and
Yeah,
and
autocomplete
then
in
like,
command blocks
oh
would be
yeah, I
nice.
can't write that long stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah, I don't really get why they don't do that, because some of the autocomplete is completely situation independent, so I think they should try to add as much autocomplete as possible into command blocks. Just isn't it? It's something you have to do often, like write commands, and if you're writing them in chat, you can just do tap tap tap. Yeah, it's not always like that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
But you have to be careful with autocomplete. Just, oh, I want to send a message to that person. Oh, it starts with an E. If you're on Hypixel, there are lots of
Oh,
people
yeah.
with an E. Oh, damn it, wrong person.
You have to type it out long enough for the
Well, it
game
doesn't
to
tab
get
autocomplete on
certainty.
Hypixel, I believe.
no, it doesn't.
Yeah,
Oh,
on another
okay.
server, it was in there. And sometimes you get message. No, it's the other person. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You shouldn't be
Well-
sending your credit card number to people anyway. So
Yeah.
But what I kind of really dislike about
should
I think
security
1.8,
number.
I'm not sure if that's related to the change they made, but in 1.8 they like removed all those things that are not like obtainable in survival, like the melon vine, like the melon stem block or item.
Yeah.
You could have that as an item before, and now you can't anymore.
Like they
Uh,
remove all the blocks that you pretty much can't obtain in survival.
Treasure
yeah.
blocks.
And that's like, I don't see why they did that. It's not like that's causing any problems or whatever. It's just like removing features.
Yeah. And people have
And-
legitimately used those features before.
Yeah, like I know like more than one custom map that used like the pumpkin stem as a weapon, like something dagger, and like had sharpness on there or whatever.
yeah,
Like-
but they do that because it simplifies the engine. With things like the stems, they're not really a separate block. They are controlled by the presence of the pumpkin. So when they move the code into the pumpkin, they don't need two blocks in two places to check and stay consistent with each other. We're going to see more of these changes too, and I think that's the biggest problem that map makers face at the moment, is knowing whether anything they're using right now is going to be deprecated and then removed from the game in the future. Mojang make it safe from the perspective you can always pull down a version of the Minecraft engine, but still I know a lot of map makers who, before they commit to using something that could be a bug, actually ask the question, is this a feature or is it a bug? And they won't proceed unless they get an answer that says no, this is part of the game.
Well, I know
Yeah.
some map makers use void fog as part of their maps, and now void
Oh,
fog
yeah.
has been removed.
It's both a blessing and a
was-
curse that it's gone.
Well,
it
yeah,
was a
but
genius
because
part of Infernal Sky too.
they
That's
remove
super
void fog to limit lag, but most people, like some of the actual like map making community, actually enjoyed the fog.
Yeah, there's like I don't remember the person who did it, but we will link it. He made I think two maps called Void Walker 1 and 2, which are completely balanced around the void fog. and he uses that to make the map a bit harder, and like you can see stuff anywhere. Like I just for fun like loaded in Optifine, and it's like totally removes all challenge because you can see like, oh, it's just over there, and like you walk straight there, and like with the void fog you have like you wander around. And I think for a lot of like survival horror survival maps use it as well.
Those
Yeah,
things,
definitely.
they should not just remove it. You should keep options for, that you, with some
Yes.
kind of, with the game rules, you can toggle a bunch of stuff, and if you can also toggle void fog, then
I don't think it should be a game rule. It should be like client-side
Yeah, like,
video setting, like
Maybe a bit
Yeah.
weird to have it server sides, but
like how
definitely
you
an
have
option would
in
be nice.
As a
Optifine,
potion
you
of-
can turn fog off on or off or something like that.
Yeah.
But personally, already for my first custom map I ever made, well, first one I started working on at least, in the first release I already put in like, it is made using these versions, don't use future features. Because my attitude towards this is that I like to have it, well, playable in the latest version, but it's not like an ultimate goal. In the end, especially since Mega 4.6 have a new launcher, and which makes it so easy to use other jars, contrary to the past. I think it's worth it to just say, well, yeah, this doesn't work anymore, but just use this this version of the game. I mean, it's so easy to do these days that I am not that concerned with it anymore, whether something's gonna stay or not for long. That's just
All right. Well, would
Oh,
you say
okay.
we're ready to wrap up the episode, or would we consider that we still have some more stuff to talk about?
I cannot really think of anything more, but maybe.
Adrian?
Look, Zag was telling me a little while ago he wanted to spend a half hour talking about some of the MCEdit internals, so I might throw it to Zag if he's back.
Alright. Well,
Maybe
we could
another
of course
episode,
cut
yeah?
it, but
If you want, you can do that.
No,
Yeah,
we'll
that's
hold,
right,
we'll hold that over until, all those questions come out about it.
well, I guess that's one thing I want to say. It's kind of technical, but I would say there's one issue I have with MCEdit, which I guess maybe should suggest to like Potshot and the MCEdit Unified crew, I guess. Filters being loaded. I'm not sure if you've noticed Brightmoore, but when you have a lot of filters, it looks like they load the game. Well, not the game. Well, you can call it the game.
it is a game.
MCEdit. Yeah, it is a game. All right. MCEdit imports it.
MCEdit isn't a
simultaneously.
game. MCEdit is life.
It looks like Live imports it all at the same time when you open your filter tab for the first time on starting up, and like especially when I make a filter video, sometimes I'm like, I think I may have been waiting for like an entire second, which I mean for a video I guess it doesn't matter that much, but
You can just cut it.
yeah, I mean yeah, I'm totally gonna cut 1 second out of every video. Okay, no, but just outside of videos, it's when you're testing something. Applicable to test either, but just every time you start up MCEdit, first time you load your filters, it takes like, for me, I think it takes like 0.7 seconds by now, which is a long time if you just click something and you want to get a response from it.
What it's doing, it's actually compiling. What happens with the Python runtime is the source code that you write or that is shipped with MCEdit from other people who've written filters gets compiled into a bytecode, which is then something that is linked in dynamically to MCEdit. So it's a development platform. What you're seeing there is it's interpreting all of the language that you've created your filters in, and it's recreating it in computer language. It's amazing stuff.
That's compiling. I mean, that's not MCEdit. That's some kind of. I guess that's Python.
That's Python. That's
Yeah.
Python. That's right. That's how it works with the filters.
Yeah, but it's more about MCEdit itself. The fact that there must be a line somewhere which says import all of the files in here which end in .py or something, right?
Yeah.
And I would personally think it would be way better to look Alright, we currently want to get, we're currently using this filter, like this filter in the list. Now we're gonna load this thing, we're gonna import it, so it's gonna get compiled and all that kind of stuff. And we're gonna generate the options and all that stuff, and it just ignores the other ones. It only...
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. And the thing that I think it relates to is grouping of filters. I write a lot of filters that no one ever sees because they're just not functional. And so my list is extraordinarily big. It would be good to have maybe tabs or have a way of nesting filters so it's like a tree.
Yeah.
I think the great opportunity we've got with both the MCEdit Unified team and also Code Warrior, who's spearheading MCEdit version 2, to ask nicely for some of these features to be introduced. And maybe if we can group filters, then you're right, the compilation wouldn't have to happen for all of them. It might just be for the current context that you're looking in, or the current filter. Yeah. And if anyone is super clue on Python or any of the languages that can compile to Python, feel free to jump into either of those projects because they are open source and they're always looking for active contributors.
I know a teeny bit of Python.
No, you only want C++ and you think it's better than C. Although we have links within it.
There's a plus on it. It must be.
It's a higher level language, but you get to do...
Well, Notepad++ is better than Notepad, so...
Yeah. You have just freedom. I think you should have, because it's a high level language, but I actually never looked into it, so I can't say for sure. Right, I guess... If... Yeah, maybe we'll have to wrap up. Enemy?
Last question. What do you want future features for either Minecraft or MCEdit or both?
One of the two games.
So I guess we can go by the names, so Dark?
No, I think like we mentioned our stuff already, right? Last time. Kind of.
Well,
Let me
I don't
go
know,
back.
maybe like everyone... like if
Maybe
you're not
you change your
Fernando,
mind,
it's
yeah,
fine.
like to the wrong again.
Okay, I don't really use MCEdit too much with the on a regular basis, so mine had to be in Minecraft, and I would think of some sort of auto crafting. I am big on automation of everything, so if we had auto crafting, I would be a happy Dark Sax.
You lazy American.
Then we don't have
Shut up,
background
Spock.
footage.
Yeah, you need something for the background.
Yeah.
I would like syntax highlighting, of course, like we said last time, but I would like some good documentation for all the commands, because there's like kind of none at the moment.
/help.
Sure, that helps me a lot. I don't know, maybe 1.9, and yeah, like that's what I want the most at the moment. And also they should fix the bug where like it crashes your game every time you delete a hardcore world, because it's rather annoying.
Really? That's a bug?
Yeah, and you die in a hardcore world, and there's like there's title screen or respawn, which basically deletes your world. Then when you press respawn, it crashes.
Oh.
So you basically have to go title screen and then delete in the selection for the world.
The
Otherwise,
heck?
it
That's
crashes every time.
weird.
And that's like 1.8 and all the way till like 1.8.2 pre-1, I think. So yeah.
That's derpy.
Macro?
I just want the game to be more optimized, because it's relatively frustrating that everything in the game is like extremely laggy. So you have to like avoid
only
using
if
everything.
you make massive farms and stuff like that.
But
And
making
it's
massive
laggy.
farms is the fun part.
Yeah, I know. It's true.
But I
But yeah,
mean,
it's
like,
balancing, like Enemy said.
like if you were to make even a normal Guardian farm, you'd get tons of lag from that thing, because like Guardian AI is so poorly coded, and it's just like unacceptable in my opinion.
Yeah,
Uh,
like lag is the only working balancing feature in the game, and
I know.
that shouldn't be. Like they should
Yeah.
try to fix that.
Maybe they're sponsored by the new graphics card manufacturers. Hey, you buy a new one, then it's
Just
fast.
download more RAM.
I just blame Nvidia. Why aren't you making cards optimized for Minecraft alone?
Okay, so then Nils' turn to say, or
Yeah,
yeah,
performance
yeah,
update.
that's good.
I don't know what else to say.
okay, then well,
Okay, well, for me, I guess I'm going back to MCEdit for a bit. Yeah, it's just what I just said. Like, MCEdit, I think there's not much I can think of which I would like more than that change. Just so I wouldn't have to wait like for sometimes even over a second for all of the things to load. Just load one filter, happens in a fraction of a second. That shouldn't be noticeable. And yeah, I guess Zach won't
okay,
be there,
being Zach's
so...
not here, I guess.
Zach wants better iron farms as always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Brightmoore, maybe you can say what Zach wants, because you have a lot of contact with him, I heard.
They're
Yeah,
chatting all the time.
yeah, that's right. Zag was telling me that he'd love MCEdit to be included in Minecraft. He thinks that MCEdit features and tools should actually be a supplemental hotbar, maybe at the top of the screen.
And at the side, and at the bottom.
that would mess up
Yeah.
some servers. Just saying.
No, above the bottom bar. It's
Like a
two
hacked
bars.
client, all over the place.
Notice all over again.
I like Zach's suggestion a lot, actually, because, yeah, if I don't know the precise legends of MCEdit, but I wouldn't be surprised if, because MCEdit is open source, they use a license which forces anyone to, which uses their code to also make it open source and non-profit. Or at least open source, so yeah, that would be nice. Mojang stop obfuscating your code, please. Thanks.
Okay, so I guess I don't
Wait,
know.
no,
If,
no.
I don't know if
Oh, well,
Zach's opinion
yeah.
is the same as AB, but what is yours?
Yeah.
Oh, look, I love content. I'm hanging out for when the API is released. So, we've got another, I don't know how long.
What
it is, so
API?
that's-
Yeah. Give it a couple of
But-
years.
you can already see.
Decades.
You can already see people are introducing new mobs into the game. So there's new content on a daily basis. Did you see the snakes come out recently?
What do you mean
I
I
saw
missed
it.
it?
I remember
Yeah.
seeing people making birds with command blocks.
That birds one was fantastic. So that was armor stands all over the place. Similar thing
Don't-
with the snakes.
Yeah,
Don't you mean
that
Woodpecker's
was
spot?
Mr. Makistein's one. He's on our server. Yay. I
Yeah,
know him.
yeah, he's a genius. And that additional content's going to keep the game alive for a long period of time, and it gets new computer scientists into the world as well. People who see these examples and say, "Well, I like what they've done. That gives me an idea for the next thing. How did they do it? How can I make my idea?" So I
Actually-
think that's very healthy.
Believe it or not, Minecraft, originally I wanted to pursue like a graphical design career, but as soon as I got into Minecraft and Redstone, I wanted to pursue like a computer science area career. Because, like, I don't know, just general like logic and stuff and programming, that's just interested me ever since Redstone, really.
Then you started learning C++ first and everything went bad.
No, you started learning Python and everything went bad.
No, I know I know Python for high level stuff and C for... Okay, I know only a bit for C for
Go
low
away,
level stuff.
leave, exit.
Wait, he has to do the outro first.
Do the right through.
Time for the outro.
Yeah, I guess everybody's
Did you?
talked, so... we're doing the same one from last time?
Yeah, we
Sure.
did.
Live
Yours
long
from-
and shut the fuck up, Sock. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, people.
Yeah.